Hello, everybody. Welcome to the First Fridays Wellness Cafe with Maria and Lauren. And today we have a special guest, Beefitter Misa, who is going to host the session today. So thank you so much, Misa. She's a personal friend of mine and been a Beefitter. I think you did a reset pre-VFit even, like with me. So she's old school. She's from New Hampshire. She's a mom of two, and she's got some great info. She's a health coach, and she's going to share some tips for healthy eating. And so we're really excited to have Misa here, and she's put together a great presentation with some tips, awesome tips. And you don't need to have kids to use these tips. I've already been using some of them this week because I had a preview of their presentation. So thank you, Misa. I will share my screen to get to the presentation.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. Let me just open this up real quick. Oh, and then it's doing this thing. Okay, give me one moment here. Oh, where is there it is. And then put it to almost there, gang. View. Can you guys start to see some of the screen here? There we go. View slideshow. There we go. Does everyone see that? Excellent. All right. I'll mute myself. Misa, again, thank you so much for doing this. We're really looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, welcome. I thought I would start by just sharing briefly about myself and then getting into 12 tips to raising healthy eaters. So my focus is on kids, but of course, like Maria said, it pertains to anyone. So a little bit about me briefly is I was a first grade teacher for 10 years. I decided to stay home when my first was born. She's now 10 years old. I have two girls, Ayla and Haley. And Haley, my youngest, is 7. Haley was diagnosed with failure to thrive at 1.5 years old. She had fallen off the growth chart. She wasn't eating any food. She didn't start eating solids until she was 2 years old. I was nursing around the clock because she refused to even take a bite of food. She had a constant runny nose, and the doctor at the time said, let's get her tonsils and adenoids out. And thankfully for my mom, she said, let's go to this naturopathic doctor and see what she has to say. And I was unfamiliar with the functional medicine world at the time, but for those who have never heard of functional medicine, it's getting to the root cause of the symptoms. So why does Haley have this constant runny nose? So turns out she had tons of food sensitivity. She was allergic to gluten, dairy, peanuts, soy, corn, citrus, everything I was eating, and I was nursing. So everything she was everything I was eating was causing her to have a runny nose. So I had to, and if you go to the store, you know, every processed food, every packaged food has all of those ingredients. So I quickly had to teach myself how to cook with all of those, free of all those ingredients. And I thought I was just gonna have to eat cardboard for the rest of my life because none of that stuff, without all of that good stuff, I didn't think it was gonna taste good. Anyways, thankfully, I learned that food without all of those ingredients can still taste good, can still be good for us. So I just got really passionate about nutrition. Haley is thriving now. She's doing wonderfully. But we are still on on that diet, although we have been able to add some of those foods back in. But food can taste delicious and be good for us. So I got my health coach certification and started my Misa's Clean Kitchen business. I do virtual kids cooking classes, and I just started doing adult classes. And I teach people that food can taste good and be good for us. One of my favorite quotes from a 5th grade girl, we were making chickpea cookies. And she told me she did not think these cookies were going to be good because they were made with all healthy ingredients. But she said they were dessert good. And I was like, yes. Because Haley missed that really important window of eating from 6 months to 2 years old, that's a really important time to introduce your babies to all the different textures and tastes. We missed that important window. And at 2 years old, some kids develop neophobia, which is the fear of trying new foods. And as parents, everything's going along great. And then all of a sudden they turn 2 and they refuse to eat anything that they used to eat. And this is a perfectly normal phase, but it is seen as picky eating. And so it's important during that time to continue to expose our kids as little kids to all the different foods that they were eating before. Exposure. And then, after that period, usually it ends around 5, you'll be on the other end and they'll be eating, back to eating the foods that they used to eat. But if we stop feeding them those foods or exposing them to those foods, it's easy for them to get a very small, narrow diet of just a few things. And that's when the picky eating continues past the neophobia stage. So I used to have a picky eater, but thankfully I do not anymore. I've raised intentionally two curious, adventurous eaters who enjoy their vegetables, but you do have to be intentional about it. And so I just wanted to share some tips that to give you food for thought. So tip number 1, Maria. Okay, tip number 1, keep our eyes on the goal of creating healthy habits for life. So think of your kids or yourself as an adult, and what habits do you want to instill in them, and that they'll carry through with them as an adult? Do you want them to, eat a wide variety of food? Do you want them to be aware of their hunger and fullness cues? For me, I want my kids as adults to eat a wide variety of food, and I want them to be comfortable, willing to try new foods and eat a variety of fruits and vegetables. That's my goal. So as parents, we can get stuck in this nutrition mindset which is easy to do, making sure our kids get enough calcium, making sure they get enough protein, which is of course important, but we can, go back, Maria. Tip 1. But sometimes if we focus on just the nutrition and saying, I really need my kids to get their calcium, I'm going to give them this yogurt that's really high in sugar, or I really want them to get their protein, I'm going to give them these chicken nuggets that are really high in protein. If we do that every day, we are shaping their taste to appreciate the high sugar, high fat, high salt foods. And of course, those foods are fine on occasion, but if we do it every day, those are the foods that they're going to reach for, and those are the foods that are going to shape their taste buds. So thinking about long-term instead of just the nutrition, which is also important, but thinking about the habits that you want to instill and create for adults. Okay, 2. Get our kids cooking in the kitchen. This is the reason why I started Misa's Clean Kitchen. I think it's an amazing place to start. The kitchen is such a great classroom. It exposes them to new foods. It helps develop their kitchen skills. It helps build confidence. They can get creative. They can explore. They can practice their math skills and fractions and science and connect with others. And they're often so eager to try the new food because they're so proud of their creation. I just think it's such an important thing to get your kids in the kitchen from the very beginning, or wherever point you are in your life right now. Tip 3, adding veggies to your baked goods. In my classes, all the recipes or most of the recipes we make have either an added vegetable or an added bean. We make like chickpea cookies or spinach muffins or beet pancakes, things with the added vegetable. And this is designed to help bridge the gap between scary and unfamiliar vegetables to familiar and enjoyable vegetables. It's just helping them get used to the idea of vegetables and exposing them. I personally don't recommend hiding vegetables because although you're getting the nutrients in them, you're not teaching them to like the vegetables. And of course, this way, they're not tasting the vegetables either, but they know it's in there because they're making it with you. And it's just helping them get used to the idea of eating spinach. So they might not like spinach in a saute, but 100% of the kids that have had these spinach muffins love them. And so they say, I don't like spinach, but you do like spinach. You like them in these muffins. And then you can try putting 1 leaf of spinach in their smoothie or 2 leaves, and slowly, gradually adding more and more spinach. And then you could try spinach pancakes. I've got a lot of recipes on my website, Misa's Clean Kitchen, if you're interested in more of these baked goods that have added veggies in them, but they're just designed to help create that bridge of getting them used to the idea of vegetables and helping them realize that they do like the vegetables. Tip 4, provide a safe, no pressure environment where kids are able to try new foods. So I'm in my family and in my kids' cooking classes, we play the rate it game. And every time we try a new food or a new ingredient, we rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 using my taste-o-meter, which I'll show you at the end of the presentation. But instead of saying just take a bite or just try it, which can create some pressure and some angst for our kids, I say, what do you rate it? And that just that simple shift in language, it turns it into a game. It keeps it light and fun. And if they don't want to rate it, they don't have to. But majority of the kids do rate it. And I've had parents tell me that they're shocked, like how much more willing the kids are to try the food just by turning it into a game. So just keeping it light, keeping the pressure off, and keeping it fun. Tip 5, making veggies a convenience food. I like to chop up my veggies, wash them, chop them, keep them in a clear glass Pyrex container in the fridge at eye level. And when I do this, we eat so much more veggies than if I don't do this, because when you create the habit of eating more vegetables, you want to take out that friction, that obstacle. So when you're starving, you've got to wash the veggies, then you got to cut them. And then you're like, I'm just going to go grab some chips. It's easier and I'm hungry. But if they're already there, you just take them out and it takes that friction out. And the opposite is true if you're trying to break a habit, for example, of eating less chips or processed foods. You want to hide those chips somewhere where you need to get a ladder to get them, or you just buy less of them and it creates the friction where you have to get the ladder in order to get the chips. So just making it easy, making it simple to get your veggies. And my kids can, help themselves to veggies in the fridge because everything is pre-cut. Tip 6, serve veggies first at dinner. So I'm going to share a couple of different ideas. So hopefully your kids are coming to dinner hungry, and we want to capitalize on that hunger. And so we want to serve the veggies first, because usually the veggies are the food that the kids are less apt to eat. So either sitting down together as a family and for 5 minutes eating your veggie course first. So serving the meal in 2 different courses, the salad or just like a little veggie plate first, and enjoying that just for 5 minutes. And if they don't eat it, fine, but it's in front of them and they're watching everybody else eat it. And if they're really hungry, they might take a bite. And a salad could be just a couple of cut up cucumbers or a couple of pieces of lettuce. It's, a salad can be very different for a kid who doesn't like their salad yet. And then the second idea, which is what we do, is 5 o'clock comes around and my girls are like, Mom, I'm starving. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of making dinner. Dinner's at 5:30. So they either get their veggies out of the fridge, or I just put it on a plate with some ranch dip or hummus and they eat their veggies, and that's like their appetizer before dinner. So if they're hungry, they're going to eat their veggies, or they can wait till 5:30. So that's tip 6. Tip 7, serve veggies throughout the day, making them count less at dinner. So I think as parents, we often, some of us will hold off on serving the veggies until dinner, because veggies can sometimes be a battle, and it could be, arguing back and forth about eating your veggies, and who wants to do that all day long? So we tend to save the veggies for dinner. But if we serve the veggies throughout the day, eating the veggies at dinner become less important, because we, as parents, we feel like they have to have their veggies. It's that only opportunity to eat them. But if we serve them throughout the day, they're hopefully, becoming more familiar with the veggies. And so for me, I serve veggies at lunch and dinner. Sometimes I serve them at breakfast, or if we're having an egg scramble, but, and then I also serve veggies at their morning snack and their after school snack. And what that looks like for me is my oldest daughter, Ayla, is happy to eat veggies all day long. My youngest daughter, not so much. She'll eat like one cucumber stick or one pepper. So what I do when I pack her snack, I will pack one carrot stick or one cucumber slice. And although they're not getting a ton of nutrition in that one cucumber, it's a little bit here and there add up. And it's, for me, it's about creating that habit. It's not about the nutrition so much for me, although that's important. It's about creating the habit of, we eat vegetables at both of our snacks, and we eat them at all of our meals, or most of our meals. And so even though they're not eating a ton of the vegetables, they're eating one, and it's like weird for them if we don't have the vegetables at a snack. They're like, where are the vegetables, Mom? So just creating that habit, even if it's one little cherry tomato. So serving them throughout the day. Tip 8, think about snacks as a time of day and not a kind of food. So when I used to think of snacks, I think of chips, crackers, granola bars. Now I think of snacks as fruit, veggies, eggs, cheese, nuts, seeds, hummus, more whole foods. And although my kids still have crackers and chips and granola bars, that's a small part of their snack. So when we're at home, we'll grab a little plate and I'll put some crackers on there. But I'm also going to put some cheese and some turkey and some fruit or vegetable. So the processed snacks are still part of our snack, but they're not the only part of our snack. It's a portion of it. Tip 9, serve protein, fiber, and healthy fats. So protein, fiber, and healthy fats, those are filling nutrients. They're going to fill our kids' bellies. They're going to balance our blood sugar, prevent sugar spikes and sugar crashes. If we just serve them crackers, they're going to be starving an hour later or 30 minutes later. But if we serve them protein and fat and fiber, those things are more satiating. So ideally, your kids will be able to go 2-3 hours from a snack to a meal if they have enough nutrients in their snacks. And just a few ideas, an apple, not just an apple, but an apple with nut butter, or not just carrots, but carrots with hummus. yogurt, plain yogurt with blueberries, or cucumber and dip. So just making sure you've got the protein, the fiber, and the healthy fat to help sustain them. And I am on Instagram at Misa's Clean Kitchen. And if you go to my highlights, I have mini meals. I call snacks mini meals. So it's just like a smaller meal. There's some examples of those things. Tip 10. Oh, it's 11:50, and I know we want to have time for questions and comments, so I'll just speed through these next ones. Tip 10, allow 2 to 3 hours or even 90 minutes between snack and your next meal. So ideally, your kids are coming to the table hungry. So if they have a snack at 4 and you have dinner at 5, they're not going to be that hungry. They're not going to be willing to try the new foods. So you want them to be pretty hungry. And like I said, we have a snack at 3:30, and then they're usually hungry by 5. I give them their veggies, and then they can wait till 5:30. So just trying to make sure they're hungry at the meals is really important. And then changing their mindset. Haley's friend came over the other day, and I had a big bowl of green beans on the table, and I was just munching them. And she said, "What are those?" She had never seen them before. I said, "They're green beans." And I said, "Do you want one?" And she said, "Oh, is that a vegetable?" And she said, "I don't like vegetables. I'm a picky eater." And so she's, she's 6 years old, and she doesn't like vegetables, and she's a picky eater. And that has been instilled in her. She has this fixed mindset. If I had told her it was a fruit, she probably would have tried it. But we played the rating game. I modeled eating it. Haley ate it. She tried it because we played the game, and she liked it. So she went home and told her mom she likes vegetables now. So just helping our kids with that growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. Instead of saying, "I don't like broccoli," "I don't like broccoli yet." And that just helps reframe their mind that they might like it in the future. Or really picky eating is, I'm still learning to like a variety of different foods. So try to refrain from calling your kids picky eaters around them, because they hear that. So just keeping it, I'm still learning to like a variety of different foods, helping them learn that growth mindset. And then lastly, teaching our kids to learn our bodies and to connect with how they feel. If they eat 10 cookies at a buffet and then they're running around like crazy and then they start crying, talk to them about how sugar can give them a lot of energy and make them really excited, and then it can make them feel really tired, and it can make them feel cranky, and just talk about that. If they go to a restaurant and they eat the whole bowl of pasta and then their belly hurts, talk about how they don't have to eat the whole plate of pasta and they have to listen to their belly. And then just one final thing, if we say, you can't have dessert until you finish your plate, or you have to eat this one bite until you have your dessert, that's teaching them to not listen to their fullness cues. And it's important that they need to be in charge of what they eat and how much they eat, and they need to be in charge of, how they feel. So that was a lot. I was trying to talk fast. Maria, do you mind this is a taste-o-meter, and I share this with my students. It's a lot of fun. If you want it for yourself, you can go to misascleankitchen.com and you can download it, print it out, put it on your fridge, and just use it as a fun tool and a reminder to keep trying new foods fun and light and enjoyable. So I'm ready for questions and comments. I hope that wasn't too much. I know it was a lot.
Thank you, Misa. We have 5 minutes. So let's see if anyone wants, you can just take yourself off mute, or you could throw a comment in the chat. And then again, we always record these, and I usually put it up in the blog too, so you'll have the information too with the slides. So Jessie said she's definitely going to try the rated idea. And I think that's awesome. Like, kids do love games. So having that as part of it is super helpful. So thank you so much. Let's see.
If you want to go back and just like reread some of these things, I wrote a blog post on it on my website. So I have a blog section and it's 12 simple tips to raising healthy eaters. And I broke it into 2 parts. So you can go back and reference what I've talked about I know it was a lot. So you can go back and reread.
And I think we have one of your recipes in the recipe Rolodex from Valentine's Day. You did a cooking demo way back. So it had like beets for the pancakes, right?
Eat pancakes.
Yes. And it makes your pea pink, which is cool too, right?
Yeah. Yes. My almost 10-year-old has a narrow diet. I'm hoping to try cooking more. Yes. Yes. Baking is a great way to incorporate more nutrients and just lots of fun ideas. I had fun for St. Patrick's Day, making a lot of green foods with spinach. So there's a fun green mac and cheese recipe with spinach that the kids had fun with.
Is your spinach muffin recipe on your website?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Green chocolate chip muffins.
Okay, thank you. Great information.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question. I have kids who are not big on sauce. So I know oftentimes I'll hear from families like, oh, put ranch dip or ketchup in front of them and they'll eat anything, but they don't. So I'm trying to think of like do you have any, they love cheese, which is not always. So I'm just wondering if you have any recommendations for like non-hummus, non-ketchup, non-ranch eating children.
Do they like nut butter? Like
They will eat peanut butter. Yeah. They like the natural peanut butter. They don't really like the other nut butters though.
yeah, peanut butter could be a nice dip for ants on a log or just dipping in carrots. I can't think for sauces, for example, if you want to, like I'm thinking of tomato sauce, if you show them, if they just add 1 little half a teaspoon of tomato sauce in their pasta and then mix it, they don't really taste it, but they're getting used to the idea. And then next time you could add a teaspoon and they still won't be able to taste it. And then maybe a couple months down the road, they'll actually, they might be adding a couple of tablespoons. That's just an example of the pasta sauce as an idea.
Awesome. Well, if anyone else has questions for Misa, we'll have the blog up. And again, she's a VFitter, so you can find her on the Facebook group too, and you could tag her there. Thank you so much for hosting, Misa. And next month, Lauren and I are going to do some live demos ourselves. So that'll be lots of fun for the Wellness Cafe. Oh, there she is with Brooks. Do you want to pop in and say something? I always put you on the spot at the end. No, she does not want to talk. And on Monday, we will share a blog with this recording. And yeah, these are great tips, Misa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you for joining the Wellness Cafe. We'll see you next month. Thank you so much, Misa.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was very informative.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye.